Isn't it strange that we call kindness simple, but yet we still struggle to choose it? This is a question I've been asking myself for a really long time. But is it just me, or have any of you also asked a similar question to yourselves before? If you have, raise your hands, please. Wow, that's quite a lot. Okay. You see, kindness, it's one of the easiest things to offer, but yet it's one of the rarest things in life that people ever receive. Let's place ourselves in a scene many of us will recognize: a classroom. A student is asked to read aloud. They stumble. Silence. Someone giggles. Someone throws out a word like dyslexic, using these words as an insult instead of recognizing them as a part of someone's identity. But no one does anything about it. Why? It's because people hesitate to act. They hesitate to put themselves against the crowd. They hesitate to be judged by the rest. All they do is hope someone else will do something about this. So few people in this world have the courage to stand up for others, but yet alone themselves. Now, don't get me wrong. Being unkind isn't only a teenage habit. Adults do it too. It's just hidden. It could be a side eye, a whisper, or a judgment hidden behind a polite smile. Different style, same impact. For me, kindness isn't just some idea. It's something I had to learn the hard way. When my family and I moved to the UK, I was only 5. I didn't speak English, not a single word. Walking into school, as exciting as it was, it felt like I was stepping into a storybook where everyone else knew what to say or do, but I was the only one that had no idea what was going on. I made so many friends that I could connect with, and I still remember them to this day. They were kind, patient, and curious about me. However, there were 2 classmates who I will never forget. It was almost as if they made it their personal mission to point out how different I really was from the rest. That was just 2 kids in a class of 30, a tiny percentage, but yet still, their voices outweighed the rest. And if 2 kids can make someone feel so small, imagine how many other people feel invisible in a world of 8 billion. In a world of 8 billion. You see, here's the point where I need to be candid. I used to think kindness is easy. I used to think it was almost automatic, but I realized that it isn't. I realized that kindness doesn't just ask us to notice, it asks us to act. And action takes courage. Ask yourselves if you've ever seen someone being left out, ignored, or treated unfairly, and you wanted to help, but you did not. That hesitation is not laziness. It's fear. Fear of standing out, fear of being judged, fear to act. And that is exactly why care requires courage. Because to truly act, to speak up, or just to reach out, even when it's uncomfortable, you must have courage. Now let's switch perspectives. Think of a time when you felt excluded or alone, and someone showed you the kindness you needed, no matter how small it was. They talked to you, included you, or simply smiled at you. That moment, I assure you, stayed with you somewhere in the back of your head with your fondest memories. Somebody, whoever it was was courageous enough to show care for you when you needed it. And that's why care is courage. Worldwide, almost 1 in 3 teens report being bullied. Studies show that in over 80% of those moments, there are witnesses. Yet more than 50% of these witnesses choose to be nothing more than a witness, to remain silent. This is known as bystander syndrome. I want you to imagine seeing someone being bullied. If you're the only person there, you're far more likely to step in and help. However, when there's a whole crowd present, something changes. Each person assumes that the other will act, and in most cases, no one does. In that moment, when responsibility fades in a crowd, is the bystander effect at work in our everyday lives. The silence that people choose speaks louder than any words imaginable. And that brings me to ask, if you saw someone being bullied, and there is a big crowd, would you do something about it, or would you stay quiet, hoping someone else will do something? And if we think a little deeper into this, we realize that there's something unintentionally funny about how low the bar really is of kindness. Someone holds the door open, and suddenly the entire internet blows up with #faith in humanity restored. Seriously, guys, if one door can revive hope, imagine what consistent kindness could really do in this world. Kindness, it doesn't have to be big, theatrical, or dramatic. Most of the time, it's quiet. Helping someone pronounce a word instead of laughing. Inviting someone that's standing alone into your group. Just checking in when you notice something's off. Choosing compassion when silence would be easier. Kindness costs us nothing, but the absence of it can cost someone their confidence, their sense of belonging, or the simplest faith in humanity. Ralph Emerson once said, "You cannot do a kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it will be too late." Over a century later, the message remains the same. The moment to act is always now. And that brings me back to my previous question. Isn't it strange that we call kindness simple, but yet we still struggle to choose it? But now, after all this, maybe the better question isn't why it's strange, but what if we chose differently? What if kindness became a reflex instead of an afterthought? What if differences weren't something to mock, but another way of simply being human? And what if we chose kindness even when silence would be easier? Thank you.